The brutal backstage assault that crossed every line. You think you know Rhea Ripley? You think the eradication era was about dominance and respect? Then explain this. Explain how the woman who preached loyalty, who built her entire comeback on the idea of sisterhood and mutual respect in women's wrestling, just committed one of the most cowardly, disgusting acts we've seen in recent WWE history. Monday Night Raw didn't just give us a match. It gave us a betrayal so vicious, so calculated, that it's rewriting everything we thought we knew about the nightmare. Let me paint you the picture. Io Sky, the genius of the sky, was walking backstage after an absolutely grueling match. She just put her body on the line, given everything to the WWE Universe, and what does she get? A blindside attack from someone she considered an ally. Rhea Ripley didn't just attack Io Sky, she dismantled her. This wasn't a competitive strike. This wasn't two warriors meeting in the middle of the ring. This was predatory. This was personal. And the worst part? Rhea was smiling the entire time. The footage is sickening. Io, exhausted and vulnerable, heading toward the trainer's room when suddenly Rhea appears from behind a production crate. No warning, no confrontation, just pure brutality. A forearm to the back of the head that sent Io crashing face-first into the concrete floor. And Rhea didn't stop there. She grabbed Io by her hair, dragged her across the backstage area, and slammed her into every piece of equipment she could find. The sound of Io's body hitting those steel cases echoed through the corridor, and security wasn't even close to stopping it. Here's what makes this absolutely infuriating. These two have history. They've shared the ring. They've pushed each other to incredible heights. Io Sky has shown Rhea nothing but respect, even when they were on opposite sides. So what possibly could have triggered this level of violence? What justifies attacking someone when they're at their most defenseless? The WWE Universe is rightfully furious. Social media exploded within minutes. Fans are calling for Rhea to be suspended, fined, or worse. But here's the question nobody's asking: was this actually about Io Sky at all? Or is something much darker happening with Rhea Ripley that we're all missing? Let's rewind for a second. Rhea's return from injury was supposed to be triumphant. The eradication era was meant to showcase her dominance, her evolution as a performer. She came back stronger, more focused, more dangerous than ever before. But look closely at her recent behavior. The aggression has been escalating. The calculated violence has been getting more unhinged. Against Liv Morgan, we saw passion and rivalry. Against Nia Jax, we saw competition. But this attack on Io Sky feels different. It feels desperate. It feels like someone spiraling out of control. And before you start typing that this is all a work, that it's just storyline, let me stop you right there. Yes, this is professional wrestling. Yes, storylines are part of the business. But the execution of this attack, the genuine shock on everyone's faces backstage, the way medical personnel rushed to Io's aid, this had layers of reality that transcend typical wrestling angles. Multiple sources are reporting that Io actually needed medical attention. Her shoulder took a legitimate impact during the assault. This wasn't carefully choreographed sports entertainment. This was reckless. Question for you: do you think Rhea Ripley has gone too far this time, or is this exactly what WWE needs to make the women's division feel more intense and unpredictable? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is tearing the community apart. Now let's talk about the immediate aftermath because it gets even more complicated. Triple H and the WWE officials were reportedly livid. There's talk of disciplinary action, but here's where it gets interesting. The ratings for Raw skyrocketed during the segment when this footage aired. The replay of the attack has been viewed millions of times across social media platforms. From a business perspective, Rhea Ripley just created one of the most talked about moments of the year. So does WWE punish her for going into business for herself, or do they capitalize on the genuine heat she's generated? The locker room is divided too. Some superstars are defending Rhea, saying this is the kind of edge that makes wrestling feel real and dangerous. Others, particularly in the women's division, are reportedly furious. Dakota Kai, Rhea's former Judgment Day stablemate, posted a cryptic message on social media that many are interpreting as condemnation of the attack. Bianca Belair, always a voice of reason, tweeted about respecting your fellow competitors. The subtext is clear: Rhea crossed a line. But here's what's really eating at me. Io Sky didn't deserve this. Not professionally, not personally, not in any conceivable way. She's been one of the hardest working performers in WWE since joining the main roster. Her matches consistently steal the show. She elevated Damage Control to legitimate threat status. She held the Women's Championship with pride and defended it against everyone. When Bayley turned on her, Io could have taken the easy route and disappeared into the midcard. Instead, she fought back, rebuilt herself, and was on the verge of another championship opportunity. And that might be the key to understanding this attack. Io Sky was gaining momentum. She was getting opportunities. The fans were rallying behind her. Could Rhea Ripley, for all her talk of dominance and being the top woman in WWE, actually be jealous? Could this assault be rooted in insecurity rather than strategy? Think about it. Rhea has been out of the title picture since WrestleMania. Despite the Eradication-era branding, she hasn't captured gold. Meanwhile, Io was being positioned for a championship match at the next Premium Live event. The psychological breakdown of Rhea Ripley is fascinating and terrifying. This is someone who thrives on control. Her entire persona is built on being the dominant force, the nightmare that everyone fears. But what happens when that control slips? What happens when other women in the division start overshadowing you? For someone with Rhea's ego and intensity, that's not just frustrating, it's intolerable. So she doesn't challenge Io to a match. She doesn't cut a promo demanding competition. She ambushes her in the most cowardly way possible. Let's address the elephant in the room. This isn't the first time Rhea's been involved in controversial backstage incidents. Remember the tension with Charlotte Flair? The very public disagreements with management about creative direction? Rhea Ripley is talented, incredibly talented, but she's also stubborn and protective of her position. Some might call it confidence. Others might call it arrogance. After Monday night, you could make a strong argument for calling it dangerous. Quick question for the comments section: who do you think will be the one to finally check Rhea Ripley? Will it be Io Sky getting revenge, or will someone else step up to end this reign of terror? Let me know your predictions. The match implications are massive. Io Sky was scheduled for a #1 contenders match next week on Raw. That's obviously in jeopardy now depending on her medical status. If she can't compete, does Rhea take her spot? Does WWE reward this behavior by giving Rhea exactly what she might have wanted, a clear path to the championship? That would be absolute insanity, but it's also exactly the kind of controversial decision that generates buzz and keeps people watching. From a storytelling perspective, WWE has struck gold here, whether they planned it this way or not. The natural progression is Io Sky returning for revenge. The video packages write themselves. The eventual match between these two will have genuine animosity behind it. Fans will be invested because this feels real. The cheers for Io will be deafening. The heat on Rhea will be nuclear. This is old-school wrestling psychology executed perfectly, assuming Rhea didn't actually injure Io so badly that it derails everything. But let's talk about the dangerous precedent this sets. If WWE doesn't punish Rhea significantly, what message does that send to the rest of the roster? That you can assault your co-workers backstage as long as it gets views? That endangering someone's health is acceptable if it creates a viral moment? This is where the line between sports entertainment and workplace safety gets very blurry. WWE has a responsibility to protect its performers, even from each other. The fans chanting for Rhea's suspension at the next live event are going to be interesting to monitor. Will WWE let her appear on television next week, or will they write her off temporarily to sell the severity of her actions? A suspension storyline could actually add more fuel to this fire. Imagine Rhea being banned from Raw, only to show up at a Premium Live event and cost Io Sky her championship match. The layers of this rivalry could go deep. Another angle worth exploring: was Rhea working alone, or is there a bigger conspiracy here? Could Judgment Day be involved? Damian Priest and Finn Balor have been dealing with their own issues, but could they have encouraged Rhea to eliminate competition in the women's division? What about Liv Morgan? She and Rhea have unfinished business. Could Liv have somehow manipulated events to turn Rhea into a weapon against Io? Wrestling conspiracies can get wild, but they're also what make this business so addictive. Comment below: do you think this was a solo attack by Rhea, or is someone else pulling the strings? Give me your best conspiracy theories. The technical breakdown of the attack itself shows Rhea's MMA background and legitimate fighting skills. The strikes weren't worked punches. Those were shoot forearms, stiff kicks, and real aggression. Io tried to defend herself initially, but caught off guard and already fatigued from her match, she had no chance. The visual of Rhea standing over Io's motionless body, title gesture and all, was chilling. It was a statement. A declaration that Rhea Ripley will do whatever it takes to reclaim her spot at the top. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to admit: we're all complicit in this. We demanded more intensity in women's wrestling. We wanted feuds that felt real and personal. We complained when everything felt too scripted and safe. Well, this is what happens when you get what you ask for. This is the reality of pushing performers to constantly top themselves, to create moments that trend on social media, to sacrifice their bodies for our entertainment. Rhea gave us exactly what we claimed we wanted, and now we're horrified by it. The broader implications for the women's division are significant. This could spark an entirely new era of competition where alliances mean nothing and everyone's looking over their shoulder. It could lead to a multiple-woman storyline involving everyone who has a grudge against Rhea, creating something similar to the iconic Bloodline saga but for the women. Or it could be a cautionary tale about taking things too far and alienating the audience. International reaction has been particularly strong. Japanese wrestling fans, who have followed Io Sky since her stardom days, are outraged. They've seen her grow from a young prospect into a world-class performer, and watching her get brutalized on American television has created genuine cross-cultural heat on Rhea Ripley. The Japanese wrestling media is covering this story extensively, which means WWE has inadvertently created international mainstream attention. One more question before we wrap this up: if Io Sky gets cleared to compete, should her first match back be against Rhea Ripley, or should WWE build to it slowly? I want to hear your booking ideas in the comments. The medical update on Io Sky is crucial moving forward. If it's revealed she suffered a legitimate concussion or serious injury from this attack, the entire narrative changes. WWE would face questions about safety protocols and why security wasn't positioned to prevent such an incident. Rhea could face real consequences beyond storyline. The legal and PR implications alone would force WWE's hand. What makes this situation so compelling is that there's no clear good outcome. If Io is seriously hurt, that's terrible for her and for wrestling. If she's fine, some fans will claim it was all staged and lose investment in the storyline. If Rhea gets suspended, fans who want to see her perform will be disappointed. If she doesn't get suspended, the locker room might riot. WWE is navigating a tightrope of their own creation, and it's absolutely fascinating to watch unfold. The coming weeks will define how this story is remembered. Will it be a legendary heel turn that elevated both women to new heights? Or will it be a cautionary tale about the dangers of blurring reality and fiction too aggressively? One thing's for certain: nobody's forgetting what Rhea Ripley did on Monday Night Raw. The eradication era just became something much darker than anyone anticipated. Wrestling thrives on moments that make you feel something real. Monday night, we felt shock, anger, excitement, and concern all at once. That's the magic and the danger of this business. Rhea Ripley created a moment. Whether it was the right moment or one she'll regret remains to be seen. But one thing is absolutely certain: Io Sky will remember every single second of that attack, and when she returns, the reckoning will be biblical.